To be reliant on your own sense of self worth means you know your sense of self, which means you know your 1 year old. Now, if you're not attachment trauma informed, you might not know what that means. You have a 0 1 year old like I do. It's an attached panicking, and that's only one of our charged parts. Now, for the woo woo spiritual community of us who are 5D mystics and 4D are also, of course, considered woo woo by who? Well, by anyone who's not spiritual. So the ones who don't have clairs, of course. And then we have what we know as woo woo sciences people as well for the woo woo spiritual lady. But above all, here's where the difference: nobody, thank you, Ron Siegel, Psych D, has an objective view. All of our views of reality are based on the accumulation of past experiences, most influenced by past hurts. Now, we have lovely quotes and we have lovely spirituality, spiritual, and sciences. I bring to you the sciences are the human elements. And so we're going to continue with knowing that your woo woo lady is for self help, personal development, life coaching, podcast hosting, content creation, so that you get to be your beautiful self with the inner growth mindset. And being reliant, again, is one of our new episodes for a series for the year as we move forward. Okay, so you'll see that title. It's an audio version on the IHP podcast, and it gets you to learn how to be in a relationship with your own divine feminine, your inner child. So your 1 year old doesn't just act as if. When you are a securely attached person, it means you have I am, use your human name, and I'm connected to a bunch of people. And 5D mystics know there's no demons or devils that possess anyone, no energy vampires, no, there's only this. It's called Thank You, Jesus, for teaching us about our community and forgiveness. So we're inner child adults. So we just want to hug each other. And when we meet unkindness, we know that they are actually people who could use a good therapist and or they could use personal development, because it all depends on where they're at with their emotional body. Because they could have simply put those basic charges that we all have, and then they can work with their own tone and say, oh, look, I actually did this thing called I was emotionally charged, meaning I have a really big, strong emotion behind my opinion, and that's not an actual fact. It's a objective view. No, it's a subjective view of an accumulation or even just one. So what does that mean? Well, let me again explain. So being reliant on your own sense of self-worth with love, as I spelled out, with inner growth, that's the mindset that we applied. That means you deal with uncertainty, unexpected, unwanted with the inner growth aspect, so expanding from within you to go with your flow. So you have no business talking to anybody except for yourself in the moment that you interact with another human being that does something you don't like. If they do something that you like, you thank them. If they do something you don't like, you say, I'm going to wait a minute. I'm going to grow up and know 14-month-old. It's not about our likes or dislikes. We don't play nice only with the teddy bear that chooses the same cereal we like. Studies have shown that that's part of what the 14-month-olds do. They will be hostile with the actual teddy bear that likes the cereal that they don't like. And they will not want to play with that teddy bear as much as they will with the other. That's something that in my brain is like, well, that makes sense. Why? Well, because we enjoy life. So, I want to enjoy life. So it means I'm going to want to hang out with the people who enjoy the same flavor of cereal that I want. And so we can bring that to, let's bring it into the bedroom, shall we? There we go, right here. Bedroom. They have to like what I like. Otherwise, no, it's a no-go. Now, here's where some people, the ones who don't have that healthy sense of self-worth, and they don't have a 1 year old that's navigating life freely, yes, they will actually not notice in a way of the Jacob personality. So with my left and with my right, when you have a default mode network that is downregulated, this is integration of the brain, I'm explaining it to you. Myself, Maria's self, is not scanning me and you. My default mode network is downregulated. Why? Because I have healthy self-worth. That means I have no emotional triggers. Now that I can be emotionally charged, that's because all of my child parts stay, but they're fast asleep. Why? Because I'm using my prefrontal cortex. Why? Because I'm using the inner growth mindset that I teach, educate, however many words you want to use, talk about, and share about, which I did research of my own, though, with psychology, sociology, and existentialism when I began to write the book. And then I said, you know what, I'm going to create a course. And the course are practical exercises that people can do. And it had no body stuff yet. We have an actual seminar. I need to revisit that one, a teleseminar that I got to get going once I found out about the body. I think it was after some of NICABM courses, and for sure Bezel van der Kolk's book, The Body Keeps the Score. Okay, and now that I'm even more in-depth informed, I know of how beautiful it is for people to get home to their true self, to become kind, and to know that their unkindness is not evil demons. No, it's called, you have trauma, childhood developmental trauma. You can have trust breaks. You can have big trauma, small trauma, and it's all healable, not with the generalized cognitive style of thinking, not with stereotypes or generalizations. No, that actually has been proven in recent studies. Again, I don't know the number, the sample, so we can go find out together, but this is what the data that the different therapists, the mental health, hygiene, all the good ones, not the ones who use archetypes from yesterday and that are savior complex people, or that basically just give you, show yourself, I'm dying to meet you, a superhero type. So I'm explaining to you. So the breakdown is when a person's doing good therapy and the therapist says you're doing a good job, they're going to say, okay, so you can keep on doing these activities so that you can continue integration of the brain. It's called journaling, and then doing meditation and mindfulness, because those are the three pillars of the mind. Get to focus your attention where? Here. That's what we also do here. Become aware. Oh, what's going on? Everything that is going to come up. That's the minute of truth. Sensations, images, affects, meanings, behaviors. Thank you, Ron Siegel. Again, Psych D, no body, in fact, no body has an objective view. All of our views of reality are based on an accumulation of past experiences, most influenced by past hurts. You can become a spirituality process. That means, AKA, a restorative embodiment, self-aware person. That means, AKA, I know how to regulate my own nervous system. That means, AKA, be my own safe haven. When panic attacks come, I've not had clinical dissociation ever. Always online. When I'm channeling, I'm online. Okay? So again, I'm sharing my woo-woo spiritual life so that those 5D mystics come on over for a journey that leads you to the enlightenment soul age group if you want. You don't have to get there. And then for people who want to be reliant on an actual sense of self-worth, it's not how to keep a man or how to treat someone who doesn't text you back because they have a shame button and they need a good therapist. Okay, so men like that, they're not men for empowered women or theys. Or empowered men, by the way. So when you meet empowered men who basically they knew, so back to our other aspect of why it makes sense that a 14-month-old, like grown-ups, as they get older, putting to the side the rigidity, because a teenager is the rigid, ignorant attitude. So here's what Cuscos are. Any person who has the adaptive child, you'll notice who they are, because they actively don't come into a conversation to have a conversation. They actively want to prove they're right because the 3-year-old still has this insecurity and the 1-year-old too, so they fear inadequacy. They want your thumbs up. And the minute that you're not giving them a thumbs up means you're a differentiated self. They now want you to be able to be enmeshed with them. And so when you begin to say, I'm not you, you're you, you have thoughts, emotions that express your view of reality. I have different. Okay, so here's what a functional adult can do though, because I'm a 3-year-old who knows how to share, my mom, and that's why I know how to share in polyamory. No masochists here. Healthy self-worth people, we know our sense of self. My name's Maria. I have a core self. It's love. D, when I get upset, I know it's okay. I have a relational self. Yes, I love to relate to others. Narrative also. It changes. No, it doesn't. I just love. What else? Oh, yes, the solo self right here again. So when you're an Akashic record reader, you also learn about the beauty that is becoming one with Akash. I'm on my physical mastery. So you can come on over here. We don't lose people, by the way. No, we only gain people. I have twin flames, not just one twin flame. And when I see the 4D doing what they do, I kind of know what they're doing. Teenagers, they want to be a part of a crowd. You know what I mean? So when you don't have your own sense of self-worth, you're trying to enmesh. So we know what enmeshing feels like. Daniel Siegel described it to me as like, okay, now I know what enmeshing feels like with somebody who's re-traumatizing themselves and actually trying to get off on something that's not funny at all. That's disgusting. And my 1-year-old innocent thing here, I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I say, don't use that word. But then I say, wait a minute, disgust saves us from berries and bad, whatever it is from the past. So I know that that is because my body says yucky. This is not good. Yucky. I don't need this stress sympathetic going on. What are you doing? My biochemistry is yucky, yucky. This is not good. So yes, yucky. There's biochemistry when you're in social engagement that is nice, because I can be empowered with my emotional plane, even angry, but not in the yucky poison stuff. So sixth sense introception. So I feel everything that's going on in my body. People that don't have it, they don't understand. They're like, no, you can't be feeling what you're feeling. You know what? I'm not going to keep describing to you every time I feel blood moving through my body why I'm a hypochondriac. I know why. I just feel a lot of things, and being able to make sure I don't know, that's where uncertainty, our body is uncertainty. So if I'm feeling stuff move around, it's normal that I'm going to get like, what is it? Because my brain, so here's where past hurts. It's not about hurts in the way of you hurt me. No, it's shit. I can perceive something and it's a sensation. In fact, when you look into panic attacks, which I have had plenty of, one, my lovely mystics, our energy body expands, so I already knew that was happening. Two, I'm an infant from a C-section with a pre-6-month. I'm a preemie. And I was separated by my twin. From my twin, I was put in an incubator. You can only imagine my infant body was in darkness. And like, where am I? It's cold, and I suffer cold. So I'm just saying, any of that is considered hurt. I don't consider it hurt because I think of people who have a foot and there's a rock and the rock falls on it. That's hurt to me. To me, emotions aren't hurt. That's why it's not laundry. Come over, do self-help, personal development if you want good emotional relationship. If you don't, it's okay. There's the people who say, we're all fucked up. No, we're not, but you can keep doing the Zen master with laundry talk. Okay, so enlightenment the human way. You're woo-woo spiritual. Yes, it's not just woo-woo. It's amazing. To have clairs, there's no energy vampires or dark auras. There's not even any demons that possess anyone. They have trauma charges. They need good therapists. They don't want any, and they get to be in distortion land, and I know all about that one. Okay, so when I finished that, 14-month-old, enjoying. And here's the thing. When we have what is called the open communication, there's no problemo. I've met empowered men, as we've recently discussed, and that's where I know that they have a sense of self, they have sense of self-worth, they also have accountability, awareness, and regulation skills. So they know which emotions they are looking to gain more mastery of, and that's why they talk about it. Then when it comes to enjoying each other, it's in our social engagement system. Nobody wants to be not only the mesh thing, no. Also stimulating sympathetic to get out of dorsal vagal. No, we want to do healthy activities. There's plenty of them to get people to learn how to keep on working to get their social engagement system on and to stop completely their default mode network from seeking out to get in the same traumatized environments that they learned from their first years of life. So it's unfortunate. People say, I found it hard to believe. It's like, no, not hard to believe for the sciences people. Where are you? We have Bezel van der Kolk, who shares some good information again with us as always. There is more and more evidence that dissociation is caused by dysfunctional attachment. You don't have somebody who looks at you and picks you up and responds to you when you are in distress. So you learn to deal with your misery by shutting yourself down. That's why they go on and off, sympathetic dorsal vagal. Also, Bezel van der Kolk, traumatized people tend to feel numb and not alive, and they can make themselves feel alive by exposing themselves to the same situations that cause their terror. When you get psych educated, this is the moment of you understanding that whether it's maladaptive child behavior or adaptive child behavior, once you know your self lens, you work with it. You get out of the core self that has shame and move into the love self. That's in time with your choosing to be self-aware, accountable, and to regulate with kind intention. And saying, okay, I am having what is for example, when they have, there are moments where unconsciously or consciously a person can go into age regression and infants becoming their child part, because this is the part of what people who don't get attachment trauma informed don't understand. A person who gets taught and educated well and is shared, you're healable with relationships with healthy self-worth people. You share with them your lens. What are you? Borderline, you share it with them. Narcissist, you share. Psychopathy, you share. You bring them to me if you want. The good therapist will say, you share the lens. We talk about what your triggers are. We talk about where, this is what a person who's working with a good therapist will be able to do, which is why in any relationship, you're not hiding who you are. Being able to be reliant on your own sense of self-worth means one, you're worthy as a person. Two, that no trauma, attachment, none of that is something fixed in stone, because we have great experts out there who are supporting therapists and self-help woo-woo people too, because this is the part where woo-woo people or therapists, the good ones, are learning from the good ones. And that's why we know that you can return home to your 1-year-old, your 2-year-old, your 3-year-old. You can learn to be the awesome, authentic self that you were meant to be, because that's what the researchers are sharing. Now, if you want to go with flat earthers and stories from yesterday, that's great and dandy. It's not going to be at IHP. We're 5D collective. So we have mystics and people, and that's where sciences and spirituality, the actual empowered ones, respect each other, because they know the difference between data. They know the difference between anything that is exaggerated. They know how to take feedback. They know how to take criticism. They know how to notice their emotional plane and then say, okay, I can work on this. They also know how not to feel ashamed of any of those basic emotions. Okay, so again, who do we want to enjoy more? Any 14-month-old will want to enjoy more of the people who enjoy life the same way, which is why, as I was saying, to me, it makes sense that a 14-month-old will want to play, because life is playing. And we all play with different, though, emotional planes. The people who are navigating ventral vagal or want to, so they want to be their mental, emotional, intelligent masters, not controlling. No, you actually embody the wholeness of you, all your child parts, and you become the higher self of you as a grown person. And if you're a mystic, you channel pure consciousness as uncontrolled love. This is not a divinity as an entity that we have heard from other places. It's unfortunate that people who hear us chit-chatting with updated information, if they remain ignorant and around people who just say, Akashic record reader, Reiki master, tarot card reader, polyamory, any sexual expression or what, is all yucky, so if they get basically taught that anything that is from now, but there are those. So we will want to always remember, if I meet people who are not from our time, 2024, I leave it alone. If I can talk to them, I try to present to them, here's who I am. Just so you know, it's like with smoking. I don't smoke cigarettes anymore, but I smoke cigars. And I remember the awful brainstorming commercials that they did, one of which is this human being who has no feet, no legs, I forget. And that's completely erroneous. And you know how many people, though, believe that because they drilled it into them through TV again and again and again? The same thing goes with people who are from the time of when they did stigmatizing with marijuana. So any person can learn to get out of using whatever they're watching as if it's a truth, and remembering to look into things and to be an emotionally, mentally, and physically mature person. It means that you don't believe everything you see as truth. And really what it is that while some people say social media made it worse, we already had TV. Now we have another platform. So what makes it worse in my book are the jackasses who perpetuate stereotypes, generalized thinkings, things like this. Why won't he text you back? Well, because 1 second after fucking you, he will have contempt and disgust towards you, woman, and then he will have shame. And then I'm thinking he needs a therapist, because I will not have shame. I will actively, know that I met a human being who needs a good therapist, because the minute that you've made me into an object is the minute that you don't have what is your 1-year-old. You don't have secure attachment. You don't have your humanity. You don't have your unfortunate inner child in the forefront. You don't have what is called bilateral integration. You're not intelligent. You have no emotional intelligence, which means you also have no mental intelligence, and you're a regurgitation of a bunch of different pieces of information, and you're a flat line to me. In fact, you're a Pinocchio body. Then when I get to see dressed up, lovely dressing up of love, yes. Here, let me inform you how to keep a man. Let's make sure that, you know that they need to find a place. You need to make sure they have that place, because, a man needs to be babied. I don't know. Basically, it's, what is it? But, women learned how to make it on their own. Wow. Sounds like you made it on your own. I'm not making it on my own. I have a herd. I'm never alone. I have all these people. They put up with me. I put up with them. What are you talking about alone? Men, women, days. What is this? Are we doing each other some kind of favor? Let me help you to find meaning in life like this. You know how I'm going to help you find meaning in life? I'm going to bring in, come on in, Sebastian Maniscalco. I love that man. As he shares what his father, who's an Italian, I'm Neapolitan Italian. He's a Sicilian Italian. Okay. And I don't remember which city from Sicily, but he shares, if I told my father that I wanted to go find myself like all these kids are doing, he's going to like, what are you going to find? I found you. You're right here. Basically, where, the father's like, you're not going to go find yourself. Go work. Oh, so yeah, we have the best of both worlds. Who's we? The woo-woo spirituality people. The ones of us who know science is beautiful because it gives you the capacity to know you're a human being with a heart. So when I've met unkindness, I already got taught from Jesus and God. These are my brothers and sisters. And from Jesus, I got taught this very beautiful thing. It's called always forgiving and repairing the veil. So I, in fact, know how to repair any rupture, and I don't have ruptures. That's why I don't think of any of my friends as not friends, even the ones who don't want to be friends with me. I don't think of any person that thinks that I'm an evil Knievel bitch or witch as somebody that I wouldn't talk to. Do I have preferences? Yes, I do. So one, this is not a gift in the sense of, oh, let me keep it over your head. No, it's you're my brother and sister. I'm a human, you're a human. I'm flawed, you're flawed. We're all imperfect, but look, power of community to come together. So I get to be reliant on my own sense of self-worth thanks to love that is always on, not just sometimes. I'm not acting. There's no toxic positivity in here. It's because I have a left and a right brain. You can work with it too, because that's where physiological state of compassion. I'm using my prefrontal cortex because I have healthy self-worth. I'm connected to everything and anything and beyond. Oh, it's amazing. Akash, the essence of love, life. It's everything God told me about in Jesus. And I told God, I said, hey, God, those people, they're not following what you taught me. So I'm going to continue with what Jesus shared. And as a divine feminine, it's why, Rabbi, we don't have this thing, oh, let me not let you go. No. An emotionally avoidant human being who doesn't want to bring their inner child to the forefront is a person that will be treating us like Cusco treated Pacha. And when that happens, we will not be thinking that that's evil in any way, shape, or form. I think always of Patrick Tiahan, childhood trauma survivor. He's healed and healing, and he's a great therapist for those who want to move out of their inner child being in a shame button. Yes, he helps you to reparent yourself so that you can date people who will be available emotionally. I support people who want to become like actual badass people. And I say like actual because I have a bunch of people who think they're badass from here. And I watch their inner child, let me out. And then they continue doing what is this as we conclude. As I said, 14-month-old to me makes sense. I, Maria, your host, will want to hang out with emotionally and mentally and physically mature, intellectually, emotionally, inner child adult human beings who are grown-ups. Any belief system, they will be people of faith. They don't have to be people of faith the spiritual way. They can be people of faith the science way. Either or, they're not flat earthers. They know there's no demons or devils possessing anyone. They don't even want to use those words because they know it's bullshit. They know that evil doesn't exist in this way except for a forensic criminologist. That's straight for no stories. It's a human story. It's called We Have Sciences that proves everything that we need to about how an embodied brain works, and they're going to keep proving it. So unless you want to say the earth is flat or that dark matter or dark energy don't exist, and I mean, again, there are physicists who are saying they're going to try and prove with AI that reality doesn't exist. Sabine, thank you for sharing me. I need to watch that video. I'm just wondering how that's going to go. But I mean, it's not like it's any different, right? When people see woo-woo spiritual lady, they think the same shit. It's called bullshit self-help and crap for the ones who don't want to do emotions and they don't want to become their grown-up version. They just act as if they're badass. Again, true badasses, we're all about love, humanity, all of it. And so we know that I'm going to enjoy you always as you enjoy yourself. And so we get to enjoy authentically and also without limited consciousness. Gender stereotypes of any type. Generalizations, it's all accumulated information that is being used erroneously, as any academic can tell you, because we know what qualitative and quantitative data is. So whenever I'm hearing anybody on social media, I'm just like, it's social. Yeah, social time. I'm just not out at the pub right now. I'm just online. If I want academics, I know where to find the panels. There's a very clear-cut message, the panels, So when people don't have the capacity to rely on their sense of self because they haven't gotten home yet to their 1-year-old. So they're not their own safe haven, secure base. Okay, I am, which is why twin flame, flames, soulmates, you name it. A divine feminine, if there's a masculine who's not a divine masculine for sure, they're in the making, we'll know it because their inner child is slowly going to come out and play their divine feminine. And if they're not, it's okay. We're going to leave it alone because it's not ours to say anything to a person who has the inner critic, outer critic, the fucking, drugging, drinking, and any of that numbing stuff, so that they can then do another wheel of what is low self-esteem, indirect communication, passive aggressive. It's unhealthy, no boundaries whatsoever. It's the adaptive child. Maladaptive or adaptive is equally the same in a book of Apache, because you got a heart. I'm going to treat you with respect because I know love. I accept, respect you for who you are because I am not insecure. So I will not be reactive. I will be able to pause, reflect, communicate. And if you mention anything about me having done something in a way that is charged, I will pause, reflect. Okay, I'm recalibrated. You want to go at it again? I can continue talking now because I did notice where I was charged. You're right. I was charged here and here and here. So it's down to I'm now neutral. You want to keep on talking. So we can always interact with authentic people. The ones who are not, as I was trying to say, they will do things like this. They will say, well, if I have a partner, so this is going to go into another episode later on. If I have a partner that wants to treat me like a piece of shit in the bedroom, it's okay because I accept the gender stereotypes between men and women and basically what is ancient history, and not in 1-inch way, shape, or form am I noticing what I'm speaking out of my ass and my mouth because I'm not hearing myself. Because I'm actually still believing the stories that I was told in, yesterday's stuff. Stereotypes, again, generalizations. There are those who are going to believe in it. They're still out there. They call emotions laundry, and they allow themselves to do stuff like this. I read all about it also in my lovely book with Jessica Fern, Wholly Secure, how women and men, they put up with each other in ways that are not necessary. This is 2024. So it's not about anything that is going to bring you to change how you see the world. No, what I'm talking about is the awareness of your sense of self, the awareness that you're a person. The awareness means that you feel happy to be around. It's so many things and more. So being reliant, though, on your sense of self and your self-worth requires first that you know your lens. 0-1-year-old attached panicky, 3-7 shame submissive, the freeze of all ages, the flight 11-12, the fight 14-15-16. Thank you to my teacher, Sue Martin, in my trauma basic course. So we all have these. That's the basis. Once you're a emotionally mature person, raise your hand. I was already a teenager. That means you do not disengage from your heart, body, and value body. Doesn't mean perfection. Means that you stand your ground. Means that you say, this is who I am. If you don't like it, there's a door. This is what I like. If you don't like it, there's a door. No, these are non-negotiable. What is negotiable is how I'm going to use 24 hours of my time. What I'm interested in, no, non-negotiable. You're not in my brain. I can share moments with you of what you're interested in. It's called I'm a safe haven of me and secure base, and I can be one of you too. But I have my own interests. It's called differentiation of the self. I vibe, you vibe. We come together and we vibe as a tribe, not with a meshing. No, me and you, we. So 2 independent functional adults. This is where we're going to go next. And our 5D relationships, they know not only their sense of self, they know their lens. If they're working with anything, they work with relationships to get that witnessing, processing, and then the adaptive child and maladaptive can get into healing. We heal trauma seriously here at IHP with people that want to be functional adults, secure attachment, integrated brains, healthy self-worth. It's the inner and outer well-being. You being yourself is about the authentic self. I can share with you all about how it feels. It feels great to be a person who can say, yeah, my 14-month-old will still want to be able and play with the people that like the same cereal, but I'll be nice with the people who don't like the same cereal. I will not engage, and I will try to notice if there's any hostility, so those biases or whatever that could come up. They present it to me. I will take the feedback of my herd. That's true spirituality, by the way, living a life of meaning and connection beyond the solo self. So I'll notice if they say you're playing hostile, I'll say, am I? No, not really. But I am making a conscious choice. And we have that perfect story of this human being who is 50 plus and older, drunk evening got rejected by somebody, I have not engaged with them in a full 3 years, consistently in the same manner, because they are a passive aggressive type, and it's not aggressive. I mean, for me, it's a shame, love dependent, manipulative, desperate human being. I feel, can't say I feel sorry because, see, I respect the person. I don't feel sorry. I just know that what they did was completely reactive to something I had nothing to do with. They got rejected by somebody else. I was there and I'm part of the crew of what? And so they just decided to also pick on me, particularly in this evening, pick on me. I just noticed how I handled myself, and I can say that I did my best to be a decent human being and treat another person who was completely not only being unnecessarily in my space, asking me to kiss you when I've never kissed you before because I'm not interacting with you actively, ask me to hug you. Then you actively end the evening by stating that we are going to become friends and share interests. And this is humorous to say the least because it's not 1 month. No, I said 3 years. 12, 12, 12. Do the math. And so this is the part of why some people, when I share the story, like, he's rude. He's not rude. He's a poor human being. Why isn't he in a therapist's room? Why isn't he doing personal development? Why is he not doing anything for himself? And why does he not even notice what he did? And in fact, you know what he did the next time I saw him? This was weird. He didn't apologize for, not that I don't want an apology. I'm just saying this is a human being who, in fact, I didn't play hostile with, but if we need to, because I can throw myself in any mix. He considers me playing hostile. That night, what he said when I said, no, we're not going to become friends or acquaintances. We frequent the same place. That's it. You're putting up walls. So this is where somebody could say on the external, without knowing any of the details, you are hostile, like that 14-month-old. I'm using it as an example on purpose. I'm relying on my own sense of self. I have my self-worth. I have consistently communicated effectively in the absence of being disrespectful to another human being. I don't want to be your friend or acquaintance, and I know how to show that and make it clear on evening where you have gotten rejected, you're in your mood, you're drunk, this is so just beyond me humorous to say sad. No, because it's a person, they have money, they have family, they have education. They're I don't even know how they always present themselves as a writer or something, because they do frequent the same place. An artist, they're an artist. So you have all of this, and then you do this very specific evening. So the next time I see him, I say hello to a friend of mine. This is another friend. To them, I do the nod. You know, the nod where you acknowledge someone and he gets to give his little passive remark, aggressive. At least you nodded. At least you acknowledge me. So this, for me, is already something I have learned about from my lovely therapist. It's called projection. It's a low self-esteem human being. It's a Cusco attitude. It's not a person that was rude. They're biologically rude. As Stephen Porges points out, biologically rude people, they're in their safety behavior. They're not using their prefrontal cortex. It's like talking to a 3-year-old with a teenager attitude, but it's a grown 50-year-old man who thinks that they're badass. And then that's where the external will say, yeah, you're a bitch. Because this is where there's other stuff to the story where it's very beautiful how people like to work with their words. Again, we'll use that maybe in our 5D relationships, and how persons such as myself, I allow myself to just, it's not suppressed. It's called be quiet, come on in, Shiva. As Sadhguru presents, we're not here to affect states of consciousness. So pure peace of consciousness knows exactly what is happening, how it's happening. I have attachment trauma information to share, of course. If they're passive aggressive and low self-esteem, the people that they were hanging out with, they have some of that exchange going on, because the only people who will get into push and pull stuff are the same people who have porous boundaries. You need porousness in order to have people hooking up in these different ways that are of what I considered teenagers. I got out of all of those. I do not have people that are like that in my life. I've chosen, and I consistently choose based on my gut. When you have the capacity to have healthy self-worth, you know exactly who's a person that's going to be a love dependent, and that means they don't know boundaries. In fact, I have my big man baby friend child is a perfect example. I became friends with this human being because of somebody else who says, be nice, he's a nice person. Do I love my friend? Yes. every evening I have to repeat myself with my friend on very specific ways. They have fun. I have fun too. The point is, though, they are a person who doesn't know at all how to behave in specific ways. I notice their pattern. I try to make them aware of it because I'm always concerned that at some point or another they're going to be taken advantage of. Like any teenager, they think they're badass. Keep on running with your story. None of us can do anything when people don't want to hear the truth because they consistently are in a 16-year-old version of themselves, which is basically a not secure attachment pattern. And with that being shared, again, come on over if you want to do emotions and thoughts like a functional adult, if you're done with being with adaptive child mannerisms and people and actually dealing with them. I can say that I did a good job to the best of my ability for me to treat somebody decently, not needing to be reactive. And I caught myself in a couple of areas where I could have done better. Not because I wanted to do better in the sense of performance. No, because I got into my nervous system in a little bit of a, oh no, what I do now. So it's kind of like when you're learning to ride a bike, right? You get to keep learning. Oh, and this is that physical mastery. That if you're a person who's a mystic, Akashic record reader here, come on over because that's where you can relate to this aspect in a way that can support you to expand your energy body and to know you don't lose people in your life, not in the 5D collective plane at least. That's for people who are not looking to move into secure attachment with integration, and they might have secure attachment with one person. I'm saying where you can be a person who relies on your sense of self-worth and yourself with all via Pacha, and that's where our 5D collective is at. It's called Christ consciousness for a reason. He got to teach us how to become these lovely interconnected pieces, at least for me and those of us who love Jesus, with forgiveness in the forefront, and not because we're hanging it over. No, it's actively an open heart. It's called when you're able to be present, attuning, and that's because you're curious, open, accepting, and loving. And then we resonate together, and then we trust together. And that's where we create, like Daniel Siegel calls it, a mui, differentiated self, and we don't enmesh, but we connect, and we get to be our safe haven, secure base, which is what life partners are all about, by the way. So be back with more for 5D relationships. In the meantime, thank you for stopping by. Like, share, and subscribe if you're interested in one-to-one mentorship for personal development and self-help, whether it's solely with the inner growth mindset as a restorative embodiment lifestyle approach, or for spiritual awakening for my mystics, and that integrates also Akashic records, tarot, Reiki, universal love transmission sessions, and that there's another medium, but right now I'm forgetting it. Anyways, reach out for the one-to-one mentorship. The masterclass is in the works. And then we have Ask Maria. That's columnist opinionated episodes. For now, it's only available on our audio podcast. But as soon as we hit the 1K mark, it'll be on YouTube as our first membership option. Again, share, like, subscribe if you do know somebody who does want to do emotions like a grown-up, and to actually get to be with a group of people who are looking forward to exchanging empowered men, women, and these stories. It's called Unconditional Love. It's called We Love All 8 Billion People and Growing. It's called Personal Development, Self-Help for people who want to be their integrated brain, securely attached person, and to do love open-heartedly. So come and join us, inner child adults, the woo-woo-ness. Remember the woo-woo-ness. Okay, so have a great day. We'll be back soon.